Now it's showtime, folks. And you can be sure it's the best show in town.
This podcast is supported by Cell Swords Entertainment and the Mad Tea Party Productions.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
How long has it been since your last confession?
I've never confessed to anything.
Well, talk, son.
I have overindulged in softcore murder porn, also known as Italian giallo movies. Murder, nudity, the obscene have clouded my focus.
Where do you find such movies?
Well, Prime's a good spot. Shudder, maybe?
Maybe you should just watch some comedy to cleanse your palate.
Also, I've killed a man.
Murder? Who? What man is this?
You, Father.
Huh? Back off, Shorty, because he does know karate. Garrick Lane.
You're an inanimate fucking object!
Doug Wall. He hates history, because it's all a lot of stuff that's already fucking happened. Lee Bridges.
Welcome to Tales from the Video Store.
We gotta get the fuck out of London. We gotta go to Bruges. Where is Bruges?
Where's...
It's in Bruges? It's in Belgium.
It's in Belgium?
Yeah.
How we doing today?
Oh, good.
Yeah. Everybody have a good week? Nobody cares. That's right. That's right. Who wants to start us off? I'm sure we watched some movies this week. If not, we watched some TV shows, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I always start it. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. I'll start.
All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
Getting into the British dark comedies, there's a movie on Netflix that I found 2018 called Dead in a Week or Your Money Back. Stars Tim Wilkinson. And it's about a suicidal writer who, at the beginning of the movie, he's on a bridge and he's like hanging over the side, and Wilkinson's character comes up and he's like, "Hey man, can I help you out?" And he's like, "No, you're fucking me up. Like, can you just like stand back there and not say anything?" And he's like trying to concentrate and he's like, "Oh, you've ruined it. Like, I can't do it now. Like, go away." And Wilkinson hands him a card and says, "Well, if you ever need help with this, give me a shout." And the guy finally like closes his eyes and lets go and falls on a boat. And he's just like, damn. And he just can't catch a break trying to kill himself.
That sounds like something that would happen to me.
So he calls Wilkinson and meets him at like this little cafe. And the hitman comes with like an options book, which is like laid out like a coloring book on different ways that he can kill you. The contract is signed. He goes to turn it into the Guild of Assassins because there is such a thing.
Right.
And then this kid gets back to his apartment, and Wilkinson says, "Hey, you've got somewhere inside of a week. I'm going to come and kill you." So he gets back to his house, and he gets a phone call from, I guess it's a female publisher that had read his thing that had been turned down, and she loved it. And then he kind of falls for it. It's maybe I just wasn't in the right mood for it. Mm-hmm. For me, it was hanging on like a solid C grade, I would say. You know, it's got some wit, it's got some violence, but it's more about like find something to love in this shitty world. You know, give yourself something to live for. It's just like an old-fashioned love song.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It was okay?
It was just okay?
Yeah, but you think everything's okay, so I don't know what that means.
Yes. What is the name of it again?
The name of it was Dead in a Week or Your Money Back. Give it a shot, man. You might love it.
You might.
And then I wanted to... I knew we were doing In Bruges tonight, and I wanted to do something else with Colin Farrell in it, and I looked around, and I saw a Joel Schumacher movie from 2003 called Phone Booth.
Oh, yes!
Starring Colin Farrell and Kiefer Sutherland. Schumacher, you know, Lost Boys, falling down.
He did, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm sure he's directed something since then.
Yeah, I think so. This movie was actually shot in 2002, but the DC snipers were happening at that point.
Right.
So they actually ended up shooting this movie. They had 12 days of production in New York. And that's with all the reshoots and everything. They did it quick. It's a cool time because it's like right there on the cusp of like the phone revolution. It's like it went from being a luxury to an absolute necessity. It's like, it's crazy to me like how much the world's changed in like 15 years. But the movie overall, I love Kiefer Sutherland. Mm-hmm. I love his voice.
Yeah.
That's right. He's the bad guy in that, right?
Right. It's basically about this douchebag talent agent PR guy played by Farrell who is walking around and basically bullshitting all of his clients. And he works out of this phone booth in downtown New York. And he gets off the phone with somebody and the phone rings and he picks it up and somebody's on the other line and makes some threats and kind of quickly gets his attention. And the unknown of a creepy voice on a phone like that, coupled with some sniper talk, he's talking about like having this gun and he does shoot somebody, is still really intense. It makes for a taunting, thrilling movie for the most part.
Yeah.
Even though it's not overtly violent or anything, you're still, even now I was kind of on my seat watching it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's a rent for sure. Even though it's dated.
Right.
It's still, it works for me because of that 2003 timeline.
It was written by Larry Cohen, who passed away a couple months ago, and apparently he had a drawer of scripts that just agents and producers knew about.
Yeah.
Like, apparently people tried to get him to sell that for years, and he would never sell one until he needed the money.
Right.
And I guess in the early 2000s he needed the money, and he was like, because like I think he said like Robin Williams wanted to do it in like the 80s or something. Obviously when phone booths were much more prevalent.
God, it must be nice. I wish I just had a shelf full of...
he just finally sold it.
Yeah.
He was a very, like, the movies he made in the early 70s, he paid for out of his pocket. So he got all the money.
Right.
He got those giant residual checks. And so he really could just do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And I guess he just decided to sell it in the early 2000s. And there's actually a documentary about him on Shudder called King Cohen, which is super entertaining.
Oh, cool.
And they made it like he was the one, like in the documentary, he says he told Joel Schumacher, like, you got to, it was apparently a different actor as the sniper, and he was like, that voice sucks.
Yeah.
You got to get a better, more intense sounding voice, and that was how they ended up getting Kiefer Sutherland.
How many scripts do you think are still in that desk somewhere?
I mean, his probably a fair amount. Because the one it's a movie that they actually showed. Joe Bob Briggs showed it like the week after Larry Cohen died. It's called Q the Winged Serpent, which is about this Aztec god, which is like attacking people in New York. And he got fired from directing the movie. Opened the drawer, reached in, pulled out a script, and said, "I'm going to make this," basically out of spite.
Yeah.
And made it, and it was released the same week as the movie he got fired from, and it outgrossed it.
Nice.
So it was just, yeah. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's a very cool. I mean, Phobos a cool movie.
Yeah.
Probably Schumacher's last cool movie.
Yeah.
We must find that estate and see if we can get a hold of one of those scripts. Because
Yeah,
if we had one of those scripts in our hands, we could probably make a movie.
Probably good.
Outside of that, I finished season 2 of American Gods. It's on Stars.
How was season 2? I hadn't seen it yet.
It's okay. It's so weird, man.
Yeah.
It's just so out there.
Right.
That it, unless you've read these books, it's kind of hard to kind of wrap your head around where they're going and what's happening.
Well, I know they lost the showrunner from season 1.
They did.
That's always
and there is definitely a difference in the way that it's shot, the way the series is. Each episode is presented is completely different, but this kind of gets more down into the storytelling of it and kind of what they're not really an end game, but it kind of gives you, okay, I see what this is happening, I see why this is happening. Cool, not great. I don't think I want to see where it goes, but I like just how weird it is, and that's entertaining enough for me. That's what I watched.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I watched a British show, a very weird comedy show. It's on Netflix. It's 3 seasons long. I think it's 19 episodes. So it's called Toast of London.
Okay.
Matt Berry, who's in the new What We Do in the Shadows TV show on FX, he plays an actor named Stephen Toast in London, and he's just the worst person alive. They never show you the play he's in, but apparently it's like anti-Semitic. It's the worst play in the world, because every time you see him go into the theater, people are just like throwing food at him, but you never see what's actually happening.
Right.
But he's constantly just trying to get jobs and stuff, and he's having an affair with this other guy's wife, who's like his arch nemesis. This other actor named Ray Purchase, and it's super like stylized, like almost like a Wes Anderson movie, but everybody's a perverted asshole.
Nice,
like just super, like there are musical numbers there, and it's. But Matt Berry is one of the funniest human beings ever. Like that's why I want to see What We Do in the Shadows show, because that dude's hilarious. Yeah. And there's one scene where him and Ray Purchase, the double-decker buses. They're having dueling, they're both dressed up as historical characters. So one of them's Charles Dickens, one of them's somebody else, and they're following each other around, and they're not even doing the tour, they're just swearing at each other on the top of the buses. And finally Stephen Toe says, "And your wife's a prostitute," and she is. That's who he's having an affair with. He's like, Ray Purchase, "My wife's not a prostitute," and he just goes, "And what the shit is that?" Point. There's this giant billboard that says Mrs. Purchase, prostitute, and has her name on it. And it's like I said, if you like just absurd, dark, weird humor, you'll like it. I mean, it's very funny. And the only other thing I watched was this horror movie that's on Amazon Prime called Lasso, and it's not very good. It's basically a rodeo-based horror movie. But the best thing about it
sounds terrible.
Sean Patrick Flannery, who's in the Boondock Saints,
yes,
plays this. He's the hero. He plays this one-armed cowboy, and he is just his character. He should be in a better movie because he's great in it. Like at one point, the sort of murderous cowboys that are branding people with a branding iron. And at one point, he gets his other arm ripped off, and he just runs over and leans up against the branding iron and cauterizes his arm, and is running around with no arms for the rest of the movie. Oh. And just he almost makes the movie.
Right.
But at a certain point, you're like, oh, this is just not very good. He should be in a better movie.
Did you make it to the end?
Yes.
Okay, good.
During 2 watches. I didn't, not in one sitting.
Took 2 to get through it.
And it's just, it's not very long, but it's just not very good.
Yeah. I understand.
But, that's the only thing I watched.
Lasso.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We all know what I went to see. I took the kids, went to see Avengers.
I saw Saturday.
I walked out, and I went to my phone, and I went to, of course, Rotten Tomatoes. Not because I care, but I was like, I bet this movie is a 99%. And I looked, and it was a 96%. And I will say that it is almost flawless.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah. It's really, it's really good.
Yeah. And
For 3 hours, it's really well done.
Oh yeah, and you realize during it why it has to be 3 hours.
Yeah,
but some of the stuff that they do, like the way they tie it up, the end,
the time travel.
Oh my God, Thor! I mean, that whole
1 point deducted for gratuitous amounts of Gwyneth Paltrow at the end. Ugh.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck. Oh, she showed up. She's in an Iron Man suit, and I was just like, "Fuck you." I was just.
I felt like, it was perfect. A little bit gratuitous cussing. I don't think all was needed.
Yeah,
it seemed a little bit harsh.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, just because kids are coming, but there was a lot of violence.
That's true.
But it was flawless. And it's an end of an era because.
Yeah. Yep. Because what happens at the end?
Yeah, and you can kind of tell they even went to. The end credits, it shows the main guys that have been around, and they did the whole signature. Mm-hmm. Did you stay for that? That was really cool. Yeah. They basically were signing off. Hey, this is we're done here, and this is the way it's going to end.
But and there's stuff I didn't see coming, like the way Captain America's character sort of tied up.
Oh yeah,
I was not thinking that was how it was going to end.
Oh yeah,
it's super satisfying.
Oh yeah, man! Thor, that whole part was
the fact that he was spoiler alert, that he's fat 90% of the movie. Like I said, well, I'm sure he'll do some sort of magic thing and he'll turn back into cut.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, he's fat the whole movie.
Drinking beer and one time Robert Downey Jr. walks by him and goes, "Look out, Lebowski!"
Yeah,
he looks just like him.
Yeah.
He's got his hair grown out. Yeah. Ricky Raccoon says that when they went to pick him up, that was the best line. I laughed. I don't know why. He's like. They were talking about looking, or Hulk was like, "You look," and Ricky, the raccoon's like, "You look like melted ice cream." It's really funny.
I always forget that's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so good.
Yeah.
it is what it is,
Yeah.
and everybody knows that it's good.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to even talk about it.
Yeah.
And then so British comedies. Of course, I jumped into Terry Gilliam and rewatched the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus with Christopher Plummer, and it was Heath Ledger's last film, which it's typical Terry Gilliam. It's it's unique, it's crazy, it's weird. And I like all his movies. This one was a little bit hard, and I get it because they ended up using Johnny Depp and Colin Farrell and Jude Law to play kind of mirrors of Heath Ledger to finish the film. And I don't know if it worked.
I remember hearing about that.
I don't know. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very confusing.
Right.
Although it's supposed to be dreamy and I get it.
Right.
They have to finish the film, but Terry Gilliam's like Tim Burton. It always looks really cool. It's not always good.
No.
But
No.
it looks good.
Since Fear and Loathing, it's been quite not good consistently.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, like Tideland. Oh, I'd rip my eyes out before I stepped to that movie again.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That movie was...
What about the Don Quixote? I want to see it.
Tell me how it is.
Like I said, Parnassus, it looked cool.
Right.
Vernon Troyer, the late Vernon Troyer, he ruined it. Guy's the worst acting ever.
Yeah, tonight we're doing In Bruges from 2008, starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson.
Yes.
Crime comedy about two hitmen who are not very good at their jobs. And I'll go ahead and tell you, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I would put this in my probably top 3 favorite movies of the 21st century.
It's great.
I love it. I really do. Like, from seeing it in the theater, I just loved it so much then. Like, it's one of those movies, like all movies, you see the first time, you're like, that was okay. But the second or third time you watch it, you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is not this far right out of the gate. Love
and it's great. The dialogue is super.
Really
just
is.
everything about it.
Yeah.
Ray Fiennes is great.
He is.
Colin Farrell's great.
Like, every character in it's great. Like,
yeah.
The midget, the female drug dealer, like,
Dwarf.
Okay. The skinhead who gets shot in the eye with a blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually your fault. What do you mean? Well, you allowed him to, while you were robbing him, you allowed him to take your gun, load your blank, blow your eye out with the blank.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm pretty sure that it's your fault that your eye is gone.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Dad?
It's probably my absolute favorite Colin Farrell role ever.
Absolutely.
He just is perfect.
Yeah.
He's just such a fantastic disaster of a human being.
Yeah.
And he just cannot catch a break.
No.
And every time he gets down or gets himself in a bad situation, you still find yourself kind of rooting for him. He's the hero.
Right.
Of this movie. And like you guys talked about, the dialogue is so cunning. It's just...
Yeah.
I was telling Garrick that when I had seen it the last time, I guess I missed some of the lines.
Yeah.
And then, you watch it again, I'm like, oh my God, that is so funny. Or I missed that the first time.
Right.
I don't know how I missed the... That's for John Lennon, you Yankee fucking cunt. I don't know how I missed that.
And when he finds out they're Canadian, he goes, well, they didn't kill John Lennon.
Yeah.
That's how his mind
That's not an apology, but whatever.
You're not going up in that tower because you're a bunch of fucking elephants.
Yeah. The phone conversations with Harry and Ken when they're talking about Ray and talking about Bruges. It's just that's a great conversation.
Yeah.
It's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it, it's not for everyone.
No.
Like I can see,
I can tell you that for a fact.
I could see, I could see people that I like and that I know likes movies not liking this.
Oh yes,
and I am fine with that.
Yeah,
because like you said, Lee, it just works for me. It's just the way it's done. I guess the monstrosity that are these main characters and just how shitty they really are.
Yeah.
It's just perfectly well done.
Right. Shitty, but at the same time, And that's one of the things I love about the movie. Like the characters are all on paper terrible people,
but they have heart.
But hey, like Harry, who is the villain of the movie, he has a point.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and like everybody has their own point of view and their own sort of morality they bring to everything.
Right, moral compass, if you will.
And just like you're talking about that movie. I've mentioned this on the show before. I saw this in a small independent movie theater with a bunch of people who did not find it funny at all. And I'm sure me horse laughing through the entire movie probably did not help.
Made it worse.
Because that made it worse because I was just loving it. Like when, talking about the scene where the skinhead gets shot in the eye with a blank. And Colin Farrell's like, when did all skinheads start thinking they were tough guys? Just used to be. You went around beating up 12-year-old Pakistani kids.
And now look at you.
Now look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course you can't see. I shot you in the eye with a fucking blank. Just like... Yeah, like and Martin McDonagh, you know, he was a playwright before he was a film director.
Which makes total
sense because his dialogue, like I said, it's
sharp, like David Mamet.
Yeah, it is. Like a lot of people compare him to Tarantino. I agree. I think he's more Mamet-like than Tarantino.
Yeah, because Mamet's stuff is real hard hitting, and it's like boom, boom, boom,
and catchy too.
Very sharp.
Yeah, like
you're like an Uzi. I'm not from South Central Los fucking Angeles. I didn't come here to shoot 20 black 10-year-olds in a fucking drive-by. I want a normal gun for a normal person. I mean, dude, like, it's the best thing ever.
Just, but like, the story is that Colin Farrell's first time as a hitman, he's assassinating this Catholic priest. We never find out why, but it's on Ralph Fiennes' character's behalf. And when as he's shooting him, one of the bullets goes through the priest and hits a 10-year-old boy in the head and kills him. And that was sort of like Martin McDonagh's sort of conceit of the movie was you see these action movies and people are just firing bullets everywhere. They're just flying machine guns. He's like, those bullets all have to go somewhere.
Right.
He's like, so what if one of them just went somewhere terrible? And so you have these sort of crime movie characters, and, you know, and in this realistic but at the same time somewhat absurd situation. Where they accidentally kill a little boy and they have to go to Bruges till they hear from the crime boss. And Bruges is the most well-preserved medieval city in the world. Or one of them.
Right.
And like I said, it's beautiful, but at the same time, incredibly boring. You know, and Brendan Gleeson's character loves it. Aaron's character couldn't hate it anymore if he tried.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, all these churches and cathedrals and museums and paintings. Just who gives a shit? Let's go to the bar. You know.
Let's go see some castles. It's lit up at night. I bet it looks better than during the day. Yeah. He's like, yes, okay, just to get out of this hotel room.
He's like, I've got some coke and ecstasy. I was like, do anything. Yeah. Doing a bunch of coke with the dwarf. That's great, though.
And just, I love it. I really do.
And the end, I like, spoiler, when Ken, the scene between Ken and Ralph.
Oh, yeah.
Or Harry, excuse me. Ken and Harry in the steeple is the best.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, they all have their point of view.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to kill each other, but they're still best friends.
Yeah.
Like, when he's like when he tells him on the phone that he put Colin Farrell on the train, he's like, listen, I put him on a train. There's really nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
If you're going to shoot me, that's fine. But just, he's like, they live in a sort of it is what it is type of world. Like, you know, Ray Fiennes is a crime boss. Brendan Gleeson is a hitman. You know, there's a friendship, but also he works for him. So if he screws up, he might have to murder his friend.
Right.
You know, but that's just how it is. And there's no, like, when he shoots him in the leg, he's not fucking going on about it. Well, who is it? What actor does he call him? The guy that played Jesus? Robert Powell. Going on like fucking Robert Powell. Like, just like... oh, yeah. And everything about it is just so funny.
I would love to have read that screenplay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I bet, it's impossible to read without actually laughing out loud by yourself reading something like that. It's that well written.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. But like you said, not for everybody.
No, and that's what makes it special, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, like The Avengers is for everybody.
Sure.
And that's fantastic. But there also need to be movies, like we talked about in the past, that are just for... Like, I saw an interview with Bobcat Goldthwait one time. Mm-hmm. And this was in like the late 90s, and his career was kind of crappy. And he's walking through a mall, like, shopping for Christmas. And this kid with like a mohawk and like piercings and like a big leather jacket come up and said, "You directed Shakes the Clown." which is his first movie about a clown who goes into DTs while he's performing children's birthday parties. And he's like, yeah, and this guy just grabbed him and hugged him. He said, that's my favorite movie of all time. And he was like, I made that movie for that kid, not for everybody else.
Yeah.
And this is that kind of movie. It's it's for a small group of people, but the people who love it, they love it. You know, it's not like a lot of people. As he's become a bigger writer director, a lot of people don't like the insensitivity in his. I just don't think fake internet sensitivity has gotten to Ireland yet, or at least not to the people from his generation. Where it's just like he's just kind of like like the line you just quoted about the Uzi. Like a lot of people wouldn't put that in a movie, but just
Oh, he's not scared to put a line in a movie.
No, that was before. I mean, this movie came out in 2008.
2008, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so this was before that.
That's true, but a lot of people had problems with Sam Rockwell's character from Three Billboards because he's not the villain of the movie.
Right.
But he's not like there are two types of movies like it. You can have a movie with a message, like what's a movie with a message? Like
I try and avoid them.
I do too. Garrick, what's some bougie Oscar movie with a message? Anyway, some movie about Gandhi.
Right.
There you go.
Gandhi.
Nice.
There's a movie, and but then he does movies with themes. Like his movies, I think, are about grief. Mm-hmm. Like this and Three Billboards, and like he's dealing with theme more than he's not trying to teach you something. More so, he's just trying to share something with you. I guess would be the best way to put it. So some people just don't like that. Like say a lot of people thought that like Sam Rockwell's character should like go to jail at the end of Three Billboards just because he's a bad person. That's not yeah.
I thought his character arc was great.
Right.
The whole way,
Yeah. But he kind of redeems himself at the end. I guess some people didn't want that.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Anyway, but going back to this movie, it's funny, it's violent. The action sequences, what little they are actually very well done.
Oh, yeah.
And the cast, it's cast perfect. It looks perfect. The music by Carter Burwell, who does the score for all the Coen Brothers movies, it's perfect. Like literally, I think it is. I would say it's maybe the best, maybe not the best comedy of the 21st century, but one of. It's got to be the top 5.
It's in your top 3 for sure.
Yeah. No, that's movies from all genres.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but when and I hate the spoiler alert, but when Ken hits the ground,
dude,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. And then you kind of walk up and you see where his arms cut.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
He goes, Harry's here. Get my gun. And Colin Farrell just pulls out and it's just in pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Where's my gun? Yeah. Like, terrible but funny at the same time.
It's witty as anything. If you appreciate, sharp-witted dialogue and, this is something that you should check out.
Let me ask y'all about the question.
Okay.
Is Colin Farrell dead the entire time? Like, is he narrating it from the afterlife? Because at the end of the movie he says, and I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. Now, is that him in the present on the gurney saying, I hope I wouldn't die, because he said, I hoped I wouldn't die?
Yeah, no, I think he was already dead.
He's already dead.
I think at that point he's dead.
Okay.
When it goes to black.
Yeah. Yeah, and he says maybe it's in purgatory.
Yeah.
In Bruges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, it's on Netflix. So if you have a Netflix subscription, watch it. And if you haven't seen it before and you watch it, let us know on the Facebook page or on the website or whatever if you liked it or not.
Well, I put something up that we were going to review it. We've got a lot of comments about, I love this movie. We love this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. So it's a rent for sure.
Oh, it's
a buy.
It's a buy, yes. Which I have no idea where my copy is.
It's some friend of yours is
some scumbag I lent it to never returned it.
Well, some news. Did anybody see that Johnny Zuko is going to disagree with me? One of our guys. Anybody see the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer?
I did. I mean, I don't give a shit about it. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It's as good. It actually looks better than I thought it would look. It's a talking animal movie.
It's live action, right?
But he's CGI.
Okay.
And Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, and I guess it's a prequel because he's like thin. He doesn't look all fat and bearded like in the game. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really feel like, I don't know. It's for 7-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care either. But a lot of people are talking about how great it's going to be, and it's Jim Carrey and he's back, and I'm like, it's Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know. I saw that, and
now that's supposed to be for everybody.
Maybe I just so against, like, what's the word? Doing it's just the same old.
Yeah.
Like, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, nobody cares. Why are we doing Sonic the Hedgehog?
That is weird that it's like, I guess it's trying to, here's what's weird. It's a movie for little kids now, right? But little kids now don't play Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nope.
It's almost a movie that shouldn't exist. It's a movie made for like 27-year-olds, right? But it's rated for like between 7 to 10-year-olds. So it's almost like a movie without an audience. You know what I mean? It's like it's cashing in on nostalgia, but it's made for people who don't have that nostalgia.
Right.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. It's like when the G.I. Joe movies came out. They were clearly for little kids now who've never played with the G.I. Joe.
Right.
So I don't really understand the purpose of it. Anyway. But then again, I don't understand why business people do anything, so who knows.
Other news?
I don't have any other news. I've been busy.
I've got a couple things.
Okay.
Have you seen that they've re-edited and it's a longer version of The Hateful Eight, but it's a miniseries?
Right.
But Tarantino apparently is doing a longer, extended version of Django just for Netflix. And what do you guys think of director's cuts? I think most of them are completely useless. Unless it's like Blade Runner, the director's cut is the cut of the movie.
Right.
I've sat through the theatrical cut once, and it is not good.
Right.
Like there's a voiceover, and it's not good at all. And that's different because that's the preferred cut of the movie. In a way, it is the director's cut. But most of them are just they added 5 minutes to get you to buy it again or watch it again or.
I think it's a marketing thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching them because sometimes when it matters, I would still love to see Tony. What was his last name? I'm still waiting to see the director's cut of American History X.
Oh yeah, the short version.
The one that Tony Kaye never got to do.
Now see, that's different because his version was supposed to be like 80 minutes.
Yeah,
he would Tony. I thought you were going to say Tony Scott because Tony Scott's director's cut of Revenge with Kevin Costner is much shorter than the theatrical cut.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like, they made me add all this extra stuff I didn't want and everything. So it's that stuff I'm actually like. That's more like Blade Runner. That's a different movie almost. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But just add 5 extra minutes, a couple extra swears.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It doesn't really change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I think it's useless. However, being in the film business, of course, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, director's cut.
Well, and I saw Tarantino say, when he was approached by Netflix about doing this kind of in a mini-series kind of a way, he was like, well, I've got all this footage sitting around. I'm not going to use it.
Right.
So why not utilize it and try and retell the story using a kind of a different...
Yeah.
So nobody in this room's seen it yet?
A different vehicle. No.
I did see the slightly longer version in Charlotte when they had the 70mm. The one that had the in the middle, the intermission. Yeah. So I don't know if it's that cut or if it just has even more stuff.
I think it's cut into
4 pieces.
I could have. Yeah, I'm sure it's done something. I'm sure he's done something else.
Yeah.
There's no way you just do.
I'll check it out because I love the movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it works and if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie?
Jackie Brown.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird because it's like I don't know, either Jackie Brown or Reservoir Dogs. I would say because they're less self-conscious. It's less. This is me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because Kill Bill, I love Kill Bill, but it's more of an essay on action movies than it is a movie. Like those 2 movies are just movies. They're not like his sort of Sergio Leone love letters with him doing the narration.
Right.
And plus Jackie Brown, it's a love story between 2 50-year-old people. That's much harder to do than an action movie will.
I'll agree. I'll agree with that.
And that's weird for me to be saying that.
What's your favorite?
I think it has to be Django.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
I mean, it's like picking
But now on a different day, I might say Inglourious Bastards.
Well, that's my Inglourious Bastards to me is it's just so much different.
He says that's his best movie, like
and
that.
I would agree.
Yeah, like he's like that's his
my favorite.
Like he's like 50 years. He's like that's the movie people obsess over.
Yeah, and I agree with
You
you.
know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Or The Hateful Eight.
Yeah, Hateful Eight's really
And
good,
I
too.
love it too.
I like it just because of the 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
Like he did it exactly like
Yeah.
an old John Wayne film.
Oh yeah. Yep.
David Lean film.
Yep.
So
I almost yelled at the old guy telling the tickets because he didn't hand me my booklet. He got like a little booklet.
Oh,
I was like, "Hey man, where's my booklet?" Then I realized, I'm yelling like a 70-year-old man. He's just trying to go home.
give me the fucking booklet.
Yeah, it's like,
It's an inanimate object. You're a fucking inanimate object. Give me the booklet.
yeah.
Oh well, there you go. The news. Go ahead.
I got one last piece of.
You've got some news.
Sad news. The passing of John Singleton.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well.
You know,
We should've done that at
he
the
was
beginning.
the first black director ever nominated for an Academy Award, and,
Right.
and he's also the youngest at 23 years old. I don't think that will ever be beaten.
No.
You know, I think that being that young,
Not actually be a good movie.
right? I just,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that legacy will go on forever. Some of his movies, you know, I don't love them all.
Yeah.
You know, Boys in the Hood, it introduced me to
Right.
like the whole West Coast and like this West
Yeah.
Coast, the way that they dress, the way that they spoke, they looked, the way the neighborhood looked.
Right.
All that was foreign to me. I didn't really know
Yeah.
what any of this was, and it's like Boys in the Hood happened, and then NWA happened, and it's like, oh my god.
I say he only has one bad movie, which is his second movie, Poetic Justice.
I did not like it.
What about Baby Boy?
I like Baby Boy.
Did you?
I like there's aspects of it I like.
Tyreek, man. Ugh.
Yeah, he's not great, but the guy who plays his best friend, the one who gets the big gangbanger who gets really religious.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think that storyline is really interesting.
Rosewood was that kind of cool.
Yeah,
I
I like Rosewood too.
Rosewood is probably his
and
maybe a really good movie that nobody really talks about.
Yeah, nobody saw that movie.
Yeah.
And I quit my job right out of high school to go see the Shaft remake. It was coming out, and we were all at my mom's house, and I was working at a grocery store. And I was like, they're like, let's go see Shaft. And I was like, I got to go to work. My buddy Brian was like, fuck your job. And I was like,
You're right.
yeah. And I never went back. So
I would say his opus is probably his best movie from a director's standpoint was probably Higher Learning.
Yes. That's an epic movie.
You know, for those, you know, he always, in just about everything he does, there's always, a lot like Spike Lee, there's always like racial undertones, you know, because that's what he knows. You know, you show what you know.
Right.
You know, and I liked Higher Learning. I mean, is it a fantastic movie? No, but it has some thought-provoking things, and it's actually more relevant today than it probably was.
That's what I'm saying.
when it
Yeah,
was
like
made.
it's like if it was released today, it would probably get nominated for an Oscar
for sure.
And I just found out something interesting after he died, something I never knew. In the early 2000s, I guess after the Shaft remake, he spent like 2 or 3 years trying to do a Sinbad movie, but he wanted to do it with all stop-motion animation. Like he was a huge monster kid, and he wanted to make a Harryhausen movie without any CGI, and just could not get it off the ground.
That would have been great.
And it would have just been like, and it's like you said, you never know what all these directors like. They all have interests that we never know about.
Oh yeah, stuff that they try to do.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like, and I give him a hard time, but Rob Zombie with his the film he was trying to make, I just totally drew a blank.
The Groucho movie.
Yeah, the Groucho movie.
Right.
Groucho, he's a big Groucho Marx, and he's been
Yeah.
working really hard to try to get it, a basic, a biopic done of Groucho
About
Marx.
like the last 10 years of his life of this kid who was the head of his fan club ended up being his roommate because Groucho didn't have anybody to take care of him. So basically, like him and Alice Cooper in the 70s would just hang out. This 10-year-old kid would just hang out with Groucho.
Nice.
And he wanted to make this movie about it, and of course, no one will give him the money because he's Rob Zombie. They're like, are there murderers in it?
Yeah.
You know, and he wanted to do one about the 74 Philadelphia Flyers, like this hockey movie, and people were like, no. So yeah, so like they say.
You just never know what these directors are doing.
We bag on these directors for only making the same movie, but a lot of times it's probably the only movie they can get made.
Yeah, they have to do what they have to do.
John Singleton wanted to make a Sinbad movie, and they were like, with the comedian Sinbad? He's like, no, the pirate. You know, people were like, no. Yeah.
Well, he did a lot. He produced a lot of TV. He did one of the Empire films, and I think he did. He's been doing a lot. He's been behind the scenes of a lot of the TV, a lot of the African American television movement that's been going
And Robert
on.
Rodriguez said he was the only, like when he first, after he made El Mariachi, that was the only guy who talked to him. Like when he was trying to, like he was the only director. He was like, hey man, come to the set. Like come to the set of hire me.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And he was like, he's like, nobody else could give me the time of day.
Michael Rappaport. Higher Learning.
Remy.
That guy, whatever happened to that guy? He's got some podcast, but if you read, it's great. If you look at his podcast, the ratings.
You watch his internet videos where he's like narrating viral videos as the character in the video. It's hilarious.
He really, and I've never seen anybody call out basketball players.
Oh yeah, call out everybody. Yeah,
but it's great because if you go to his podcast. And you look at the ratings and the reviews, he's got like 1,000.
Yeah.
And there's, he teeters in between 3 and 4 stars, but if you read them, they're all like, this guy's a blowhard, he's a piece of shit, an asshole,
But, it's like
hate to love him.
It's like the people who listen to Howard Stern because they hate him.
Yeah, they love to hate him.
Yeah.
He also did...
He's retiring.
Who is?
Howard Stern.
Good.
Yeah. Well, he's sitting home in his platinum couch. Yeah. With his billions of dollars.
Right.
Yeah. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, you were going to say something. I'm sorry I cut you off.
It's fun. I can't remember it's gone.
It was meaningless.
R.I.P. to John Singleton.
Yep, absolutely.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Big movie. Higher Learning.
Yeah.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yep.
51 years old, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You just never know. You wake up one day and
I couldn't believe how young he was.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yep.
The showdown, man, got some craziness.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yep.
So we had ourselves a Running Man Stalker showdown, and it went back and forth. 1 minute Buzzsaw, and then Dynamo, and then one Buzzsaw, and then Fireball started off real good, and then I don't know, but
Sub-Zero came out of nowhere.
I guess Sub-Zero's fan club got on there and was like, "Oh hell no!" and started clicking. So, so for my showdown for this next week, we're gonna find out who the champion stalker is. Buzzsaw is still in the running, and we'll be facing off against Sub-Zero in the championship.
Nice.
You got us a movie?
I do. Well, no, I have a TV show.
Okay.
As we're doing dark comedy, I'm going to actually do my favorite sitcom at the moment. It's a show called Brockmire. And it's on IFC, and it stars Hank Azaria, and he's a famous baseball announcer who one night he finds out his wife is cheating on him, and he has a meltdown while calling the game. So this is like 2006. And as he's like yelling about his wife having sex, he finds her in this like S&M orgy. But then when there's a play, he continues to call the game. So he's always professional, even when he's being wildly unprofessional. So cut to 10 years later, he gets brought to this small town, like AAA baseball town in the coal mining town of Pennsylvania. And he has to he's been like Thailand calling cockfights on television. And he is just the worst person alive. He's addicted to every drug, has every sexual proclivity you could imagine.
What's this on?
IFC. And it's only third season just started. And it's hilarious. I can't. It's great. It's actually started as a Funny or Die video, and then Hank would interview people as Brockmire, but he would never ask them about what they were being. Like he would be interviewing some actor, and he would be like, so you got a new movie coming out? Let me ask you, God's real. Why did the Holocaust happen? And they were like, why did you ask me that?
I love Hank, man.
And but he has this phony announcer voice, but he does it continuously, and it's hilarious. I love it.
Brockmire's the name of it.
Yes.
See, I think I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, it's the most. It's the highest rated show ever on IFC.
I don't have IFC. I don't think that's not.
The first 2 seasons are on Hulu.
I don't have Hulu.
Well, then you're out of luck. I can't
upgrade.
Yeah.
I can't buy another subscription.
I've got enough.
Golly. Man, Hulu. But there's a couple of good shows on Hulu that I maybe I should just do it for a month and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
I could always dump Shudder.
7 days.
No, I don't want to dump Shudder.
What, like a free 7-day trial?
Free 7 days, yeah.
I'll forget to call in, and then it'll.
Well, then it doesn't matter. Then you'll have it anyway. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
All right. Well, speaking of television shows, Game of Thrones. You guys didn't see the text messages, but after the Game of Thrones on Sunday night, Doug began to send some heated texts, where it then turned into my heated texts about the outcome of that film, or the outcome of that show. So I'm going to just say this, since we're going to argue this. I know what you're thinking, but the Night King, he shows up in the third season, maybe, strokes a baby, and then spends another 4 seasons kind of walking through snow on his way to Winterfell. We don't really know who he is, and nobody gives a shit. So, when you say a Hollywood ending, when Arya comes out and does the Air Jordan, and then the coolest thing ever, drops the dagger and gets him, yes, you say Hollywood, but you got to remember, this is episode 3, and the real enemy is Cersei, and that's where you're going to get whatever you think you're going to get. You're going to get the next 3.
I don't think I will.
This was a footnote.
Okay.
It was a footnote. It was great. Hey, I'm going to say this. When she stabbed him and he exploded into ice, I physically came off the sofa with my hands in the air, screaming and yelling. Like, it was the coolest couple of moments anyway. The way they built that show up, the darkness that everybody's complaining about, which I didn't have any problems with, I thought it was great. The bitter gloom at the hour mark when Jon Snow's running from that dragon and everybody's dying and there's bodies everywhere, you're just like, dude, how is this going to end? For a second, I thought maybe Bran was going to do it, but I was like, I don't know.
But we don't know what he does yet. Still,
okay, true, but it built up so good. Like the way they paced it, the way they did it, it was fantastic. Wasn't better than Battle of Hardhome, or Battle of the Bastards.
No,
wasn't better than the Red Wedding. However, it was pretty good. And as far as post Martin material, where there's no actual book, it stands up. I'm just saying, George R. Martin would have finished the book and we would have followed whatever his plan was, it may be different. But as far as finishing a show, and it's funny because I forgot about that. I was like, when he exploded, I'm like, wait a minute, that's it? Oh wait, we still have Cersei. Oh my God, we still got 3 more episodes. Mm-hmm. And that's why I understand your pain on the Hollywood ending.
That's
it's far from
so
over.
You're saying that's where Game of Thrones got it right.
What?
That's your argument. Everything you just said.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the reason that Game of Thrones got it wrong, in my opinion. This, not just the Night King, but the White Walkers, has been the biggest threat from the very first episode of this show. And killing him is not the issue. It's the trade-off. Like, the mythology of a character that is thousands of years old, that has an army of thousands with him, and a goddamn dragon, needed to get more out of this than just Jorah and Theon. The story needed to have the Night King take something valuable, like extremely valuable, like main characters from this show needed to die by his hand. It balances his own character arc. Because without anything, he has zero effect on the totality of this story. And this is a mistake that I very much doubt that Martin will make after investing so much into this villain. It's just poor story structure. The reason I've always loved this show has been the extreme, oh shit, I didn't see that coming moments. But since the show has surpassed the books, the telling has been off balance and predictable. This leaves me not caring about much else at the moment because the world-ending threat was just destroyed in a silly and unfulfilling way. And there's nothing to show from this investment. And yes, I will still watch the final 3 episodes, but this lack of risk and inability to do anything that the audience isn't happily waiting for makes for a sad end from some really great early storytelling into nothing more than one-liners and over-the-top CGI. This show has always been about much, much more than that, and that to me is on the showrunners. The journey is the lifeblood of this show. And no matter how they end this show, they've already taken so much life from it, in my opinion, that they should just go ahead and do a Hollywood happy ending. Because this, to me, was the moment to leave their mark on this series, and instead they didn't even try. It's like the possibilities of what could happen were ultimately too great of a burden for them to put themselves out there. And in my opinion, they cheated Martin and they cheated the fans. And that, to me, is the failure. So, final thoughts, it's fucking drainage! And I just drank your fucking milkshake, motherfucker. Now say something. Garrick. Hey.
I think he's turning into dust.
Garrick. Oh my God, he is. He's turning into dust.
Thank you to our sponsors, Table Rock Creative Group, Golden Ticket Cinemas, The Spot Toys, and Jabberwocky RPGs.